Some clouds sticking around today, but overall nice weather to do some captures and stuff too. And what I read today, this first one was kind of interesting. It dealt with that topic on how there's a lot of people flying drones around places like prisons, dropping things like drugs and so forth. So what's the solution? It sounds like a really low-tech one. This one says Quebec unveils measures to curb drug smuggling drones in detention centers. Quebec Public Security Minister François Bonnardel announced a series of measures to boost safety in the province's detention centers after drones have been used to smuggle drugs into jails. Between January and March, 274 drones were observed flying near jails. 195 of them carried packages, according to the ministry's statistics, and 134 packages were seized. We've made huge strides on several fronts to prevent drone delivery of packages, detect contraband, entering our facilities, and secure entrances, Bonnardel told reporters on Monday at the Rivière des Paris Detention Center. And it says to prevent drones from delivering packages to inmates, Bonnardel said fences will be installed above and around their windows in the coming months. These structures have proven to be very effective after being tested in some detention centers, Bonnardel noted. So such a low-tech solution, I guess, for the issue, huh? You normally think of things, for example, such as jamming devices and so forth, but really, is it that straightforward? It also says the second measure of the government's plans includes installing body scanners to detect objects that might be concealed in the inmates' body cavities upon entry. All inmates will also be scanned before they return to their sleeping quarters. Those suspected by correctional officers of carrying objects will also undergo scanning. According to the minister, it's a quote, first in Quebec. So let's see how that turns out. It just seems like it's way more complicated than it should be in terms of stopping this stuff. Isn't it really obvious anyways when you're flying a drone and dropping a package, especially when people are supposed to be monitored, aren't they? Like when you bring them out in prisons and so forth. And with that thought of drones, more news about officials using them in terms of the police, and in this case, people were upset because the police didn't actually disclose they were using drones to monitor people. This one says police used a drone to survey thousands of people attending the Electric Avenue Music Festival in Christchurch earlier this year, One News can reveal. The drone operated as an eye in the sky, hovering at a fixed point a few hundred meters away from the festival. A live feed was sent to the police on the ground, and thanks to a powerful camera lens, officers were able to zoom in on the crowd, monitoring any potential criminal activity. The public were not warned in advance. News of its use is only being revealed now through an Official Information Act request sent by One News to police seeking details of the deployment. In response to the OIA request, police have released footage its officers recorded on the day, including several examples of revelers being apprehended by the security and police. In one of the clips, security guards can be seen pinning a man to the ground and throwing him out of the event. Further surveillance continued at night with police using the thermal capabilities on the camera to track where people were. Police have said it was primarily used to track potential disorder and assault. However, emails and documents obtained through the OIA show they were also keeping an eye on fence jumpers, as well as potential drug activity, with the drone team monitoring the sale and supply of controlled drugs. The deployment was carried out without a warrant because one is not needed at large gatherings. Police instead relied on public filming rules. It initially caused concern for the festival organizer, Callum Mitchell, who emailed police flagging that attendees had not been warned about the drone, the emails show. We can't agree to it for privacy reasons, but we nonetheless respect and appreciate it will be happening, he said. In future years, we will need to make sure it is included in our terms and conditions prior to tickets going on sale. Well, it maintains that theme so far, I guess. Kick out, for example, people flying toys around the airspace under the narrative of safety and all that, yet afterwards you see officials using them, then magically it's all safe, I guess, huh? And then how about this one? In terms of AI and robots, apparently there was a very first in terms of 2 robots fighting it out in a kickboxing style match or something like that. It was hosted in China and is dubbed as the first humanoid robot fighting competition in Hangzhou and Shenzhen. It was organized by a company called Unitree, and these child-sized humanoid robots competed in a kickboxing style tournament showcasing real-time control and stability. There were robots, for example, called, quote, AI strategists, which won the competition. I was watching that videos too. They fight so, quote, robotic. I guess in terms of martial arts, they're saying it was really impressive and all that, just because it was the first of its kind. It kind of reminds me of that other show I remember seeing, the Robot Wars one. They weren't using martial arts, but it was like weapons and so forth. But just in terms of the way they were fighting, it's so stiff. I guess robots are only good for hard style martial arts, I guess you could say, not for the soft style types of martial arts that require a little bit more, I guess, grace. You can see at times, for example, when they miss because it's going all in. It didn't seem like it was automatic either, because you could see in the video there were people with controllers, for example, controlling the robots, it seems. One of the issues with robots battling each other actually in the past, not necessarily with, let's just say, martial arts, is when you knock them down, they can't get back up. So it's kind of impressive actually to see the robots being able to get back up. They have designs to do that, to act like a human, I guess you could say. But overall, what would you think of this? Would you actually find this more appealing and entertaining than real people fighting, for example? I would imagine just because it's new as well, there would be more interest initially anyways, but either way, it's kind of fascinating to see people use AI and robots in these ways in terms of trying to develop the tech and all that. All right, see you guys later.